to do freestanding lace. Well, that is exactly what we're doing today. Welcome to the AllBrands show. My name is Courtney Dowdett. So today I'm going to run through how to do freestanding lace. And I've heard you guys loud and clear. Courtney, we love the Avenir. She's wonderful. But could we show some love to some other machines? Absolutely. So today we're going to be focusing on the Brothers Stelaire. I know, it's going to be awesome. And to be exact, the XE2, which is the embroidery only module for the Brothers Stelaire. So we're going to be focusing on that machine today, and I'm going to be breaking down how do I do freestanding lace. So let's jump to our machine.
Now first we have to get our hoop ready, so I'm going to go ahead and unscrew her. Now this is a massive hoop. This is a 9.5 by 14 hoop, which is the largest hoop for the Brothers Stelaire XE2. It's fantastic. Now the stabilizer I'm using is a water-soluble stabilizer, and that is the fun, amazing part about freestanding lace, is that there's no fabric in there. It's just stitching out on this water-soluble stabilizer. So I'm getting a very big piece for mine, and of course I'm going to use my electric scissors because I use those any chance that I get because I don't like regular scissors. And I do like to put 2 layers of the water-soluble stabilizer in between the hoop, just makes it easier. Now I know some people like to hoop theirs, hoop one piece and they want to float the other piece underneath. It is completely up to you, but this water soluble stabilizer is so thin that I don't find it really hard to hoop both pieces, so I usually hoop both. But if you ever notice like a lot of puckering, sometimes you'll get a bit of puckering whenever it's stitching out, but if you notice a lot of it, go ahead and float a third piece underneath. But I feel like this one's fine. Now this is where I notice I hoop backwards and I need to fix my hoop because they have these little arrows on your hoop, so those 2 arrows should be pointing to those 2 arrows and they match up, and that's how you know that you hooped it correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it over here, and then she's good to go. Now I like to make sure that it's not super over tightened, but it's got a little bit of bounce to it, you know, just it's on there well. All right, so there it is. That's a big giant hoop. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there, and I'm going to go ahead and wake my machine up. There we go. And now again, we are working on the Brothers Stelaire XE2. So if you notice, it's embroidery, Disney's on there, and my design center, which lets us make some really cool stuff, but no sewing. All right, so I put my USB in there because that's how I have my freestanding lace saved. And I'm going to go to embroidery and then to the USB to see what's on my USB. And there's all of my ornaments. There are so many in this collection. It's fantastic. And of course, I do have it linked down below because I always link everything if you haven't noticed. All right, so there's so many on there. Now, some of them are really cool, and they're actually have applique in them. Or I guess you would call it applique. I would call it applique, but there's fabric in there that turns them into applique, and I love to use that same USB, put it in my scan and cut, and actually be able to cut out those pieces with my scan and cut. Let me know if you want me to do that on a show, because I absolutely will. But we're talking about freestanding lace today, Courtney, not just scan and cut. So there's so many pretty designs, and they are fantastic, and some of them are just thread, so not even any fabric. So if you just want to do thread, which I am going to do that today and behave and not use the scan and cut for everything, but again, if you want me to do a video, let me know. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to pick a design. So I really want to do just really cute little snowflakes, just something simple but very, very beautiful. How pretty. Now this one shows that it's multiple colors. I'm not going to do the multiple colors because I love the idea of just a pure white snowflake. So even though it's going to tell me multiple colors, I am going to do white. Now I want to talk about this feature right here on the Brothers Stelaire that I don't feel like enough people talk about. That is matrix copy. So let's say I wanted to add more of these snowflakes to my hoop. And then if I tell it plus, it's telling me, hey, it's outside your area. Okay, well, let's go sideways. Hey, it's outside your area. But if I select that matrix copy button, it automatically puts enough of them on my hoop to fill my hoop. So for that particular size, I could get 4 of them. So if I went to a different hoop size, well, then it's going to configure it differently. But it literally butts them up so close to each other. It's fantastic. And they're not overlapping, but the machine's making sure it's fitting as many as it possibly can, depending on your hoop size. Now, this is a pretty large design, but if it had been smaller design, then of course I could have fit more on there. So I've got that beautiful big hoop, so I could always just fill it all up like this. I'm playing with sizes. It's really very addictive to play with the sizes, but that's the biggest hoop one. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I can resize them where they go closer together, and the only reason I like to do that is when I'm making like a tapestry look when I'm stitching out, because you can do this with regular designs. It does not have to just be freestanding lace designs, but it is really fun to do it with freestanding lace designs because then I can fill the whole hoop up and make a ton of them at once, and it's fantastic. So again, if you want to you know, do patches and use the matrix copy to do that and fill the whole hoop up, it's fantastic. Now the Stellaire is the only machine that has matrix copy. It did not go on the Luminaire. The Avenir currently doesn't even have it either. It's just the Brother Stellaire. So I love that feature. I don't feel like enough people talk about it, and it's fantastic. So that is great. So I'm going to go ahead and go home. Okay, let's go to the Disney designs, and let me show you what it would be on a smaller design, because it's really impressive. We'll go back to freestanding lace. This is just me on a tangent. So let's go to Edit, Matrix Copy, and then boom. It's going to fill that whole hoop up with all my little Mickeys. And again, I love doing that if I'm doing patches, or if I'm, again, doing freestanding lace. Anything that I want a lot of, and I want a lot of it quickly, or it's just fun to do if you want it to be a tapestry kind of look where it just fills it all in. There it is. Hello, Mickey. There we go. All right, let me go back to my freestanding lace. I had to show that. It's my favorite feature on this machine. I love it. There's a lot of features on the machine, but that one is really cool, and no one ever talks about it enough, and it's an exclusive thing to Stellaire, which is amazing. We love Stellaire. All right, so I'm going to go back to my snowflake that I had before. There we go. All right, there we go, and we'll go ahead and hit embroidery, and we're ready to stitch out. So let's talk about thread real fast. Now, the thread that you want to use for your freestanding lace is completely up to you. Some of my favorites is just a regular polyester thread. It's great. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my machine. This is an exquisite, just plain white, because I wanted like a snow white look to my ornament. It's going to be beautiful. And whatever thread that you use at the top, you want to use the corresponding color at the in the bobbin, because you're going to be able to see that. Since it's freestanding lace, you're going to see that bobbin. So I love the Brother machines. They have super easy threaders. You just follow the number and then hit the button on the Stellaire. And she's got that awesome just threader. Just boom, done. It was fantastic. Now I've got too excited and I just went ahead and hit go. And again, this design was 4 colors. I don't want 4 colors. I just want us 1 color. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit that so it starts off. Now if you again notice, there's no fabric in here. This is just thread onto the stabilizer, and it's fantastic. Now you might notice a bit of puckering later on. It's totally fine. A little bit is fine, but if you notice it ever get too bad, you could always float another piece of stabilizer underneath. I like to use a pretty thick water soluble stabilizer, just to give it a little bit of oomph, something to actually support it. And then again, I use 2 pieces, because that is a lot of stitches going into just stabilizer. So make sure you're supporting her well. How cute and how beautiful is this already? It's so amazing. Now, this one particular design was an OESD design, and I love OESD. They are the kings of freestanding lace. But there's also like Baby Moon from Sheila Ryan. She does great freestanding lace design. So those are usually the 2 that I stick to when I'm looking at freestanding lace. Again, that is OESD and Baby Moon. So if you've never checked out either of those, I highly recommend both of them. I really like their freestanding lace designs, and we know not every design is digitized equally, and those 2 I vouch for. They are fantastic. Now, again, this is an ornament design from OESD, and they have tons of different ones on there, and they're gorgeous, like the beautiful sets. So not just one of them it came in a whole collection. And so now I've got, ornaments that look very similar to each other, and they're like same kind of color schemes and stuff like that, and you could change into any color that you want. It does not just have to be the colors that they recommend. And again, there are some with fabric in there, so like this one right here has fabric in it, and I just have my ScanNCut cut it out. This one is just thread. These are some really cool ones that Karen and the Baton Rouge store made, and these are out of the same collection, so they're gorgeous. Look at the ball. Now, with freestanding lace, when you connect different pieces together, there are these little nubs, little nodes, as I call them, and they actually slip into another one. And you would have seen us do that whenever I did the hot air balloon on the show. It was fantastic. So if you've ever seen the hot air balloon, that one was easy, and that one had fabric to be able to put those in there, and they were so fun. But the freestanding lace, again, they are so easy to do, and they take a little bit of time, but honestly, you're just hitting go and your machine does all the work. Let's be honest, guys, here. You're not doing much. She's doing most of the work. So the hot air balloon, and again, that one was so cool, and that is another OESD design, and that video is saved onto our YouTube channel. So if you do want to see us do that video, I highly recommend it. All right, now this is something really cool that I want y'all to notice about the machine. Do you see how it's sewing out this like lace design look? This is what's actually going to be able to hold everything together. So I love how this is layered and made. It's so interesting to watch. You know, some of them are a lot more darker, they're more of a satin stitch, and then these other ones are like lace designs. Those are like what's going to be in the center of certain areas. It's so cool. It's super fascinating to watch, I'm going to be honest. So it's going to go ahead and just stitch out. There we go. Look, there's the satin part that's going to go around it. And so if you notice, the satin parts are usually what's on the outside. So it locks it in there. You don't have any fraying stitches or anything like that. And it just locks it in beautifully. And it looks gorgeous. It gives it a little border. There we go. She's so pretty. How fast is this? Now, I know I have it sped up, but honestly, it's pretty fast. And I did walk away from it quite often. But I use my Stitch Monitor, which is a fantastic app that Brother has that you can actually, you know, keep tabs of your machine. And so if my sewing room is across the house and I don't want to just sit there and watch it, which usually I do sit there because it's mesmerizing, but if I wanted to walk off, then I can use my Stitch Monitor, and it's completely free, by the way. And I can have my machine tell me like, hey, your bobbins ran out, or hey, it's time to change colors if I was switching to another color, and I don't really have to babysit it. It's kind of one of those set it and forget it things. But with the Stitch Monitor on my phone, which we all know, we have our phones following us around everywhere we go, then I can go ahead and check on it, which is great. There it goes. There's the other lace design. I'm very fascinated with the fact that it does that. But how beautiful is the center of this design? It's so pretty. Speaking of pretty, have you guys ever seen the train from OESD? That one is gorgeous. They also have these really cool pumpkins. And again, you can do them whatever color you want. And then more, these are little like candle holders. They're so cute. And then more pumpkins. If you guys haven't noticed, we are freestanding lace obsessed around here, and I'm okay with that. So these little holders, like there's no fabric to these. This is all thread. And it does that really cool stitch that I was talking about. And then you go ahead and just put them together with those nodes. It's fantastic. And OESD gives you a PDF that walks you through how to put them together. Makes it easy. Look at the little boat. Are you kidding me? The boat? So good. And then everyone's worst thing that happens whenever you're sewing is that my bobbin ran out. But that's a-okay because it's super easy. So I can just go hit okay. And it's going to move the carriage out of my way. So that way it's easier for me to get my hoop off. And it doesn't restart me in a weird spot or anything like that. And then since they have fantastic drop-in bobbins with the Brother machines, all I have to do is take my bobbin out and then drop a new one in, because I usually go ahead and fill a few of them, and I really do like those pre-run bobbins. They're pretty great. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then boom, my bobbin's done. How easy and fast is that? There's no taking it out. There's no insert that I have to do or anything like that. It's just a pop-in bobbin or drop-in bobbin. It's so great. So there we go. And I want to go back a few stitches. So I usually go back 10, but some people just go back 3. I like to go back 10. I don't know. It's a thing with me. It's just to make sure that there's no gaps, because this is freestanding lace, so it's all thread, so we definitely don't want to make sure there's any gaps in our thread. So I like to go back 10. It's personal choice, whatever you prefer to go back. But again, those pre-run bobbins are nice. So there we go. Now again, there's so many of them, but I'm going to show you one of my favorites that I want to make, and I haven't done it yet, and it's on my list, which is the cuckoo clock. That is a freestanding lace cuckoo clock, and if you zoom in, you can see the hands actually move. It's a usable clock. It's an actual clock. I mean, you could have a regular clock in your sewing room, or you could have this, and I much prefer this. And so they even have the hardware that you can buy separately to be able to make it a clock. Now, if you don't want it to move, you could just stitch it out like regular, and it'd just be really cute. But I'm thinking if you have a chance to make a freestanding lace clock that actually moves, let's make one. Oh, the cute little boat. And if you saw, there's a rocket ship, and I have to do that rocket ship for my son because he needs it. We need that in our lives. So again, fantastic. And all those can be made on the machine. It's just so easy. So it doesn't matter what embroidery machine you have, you can do freestanding lace on it. Now, depending on the hoop size, depends on how big of a freestanding lace design, or if you're able to fit a lot of them. So again, those snowflakes, if I wanted to put a lot of them on there, because I like to just knock out my freestanding lace at once. So again, that Stellare has a 9.5 by 14 inch hoop, and that is a large hoop. So if you're looking at the Brother Stellare, we do have that Christmas and July special that we've talked about before, where you get a really, really awesome gifts with purchase, like BES Blue software, which is a really good software in my opinion. And then they even have the luggage, so two-piece luggage, so not only just for the machine, but also for the embroidery arm. I don't feel like enough people say that. Like, how amazing is that? And then my favorite thing, and you guys know my addiction with the magnetic hoops. So the 5x7 magnetic hoop, and I've noticed I get less puckering in my freestanding lace whenever I'm stitching out all my magnetic hoop. It just holds it better, and it's that good magnetic hoop, in my opinion, that has multiple pieces that come off of it, so you're not fighting with one giant magnet. You have individual magnets, so it makes it easier to shift things around if I need to. And since we're only hooping that water soluble stabilizer, it's really going to hold it in nicely because there's no fabric in there. So again, we want to make sure that it's not a loose hold and then it puckers really badly. Like if you notice my stitches are like, you see that little bit of puckering. If I was using that magnetic hoop, it would not be doing that. It holds it so well and so taut, but it lets it just stitch out beautifully. So love that magnetic hoop. So all of those come together with the gift for purchase. Those are free. Those are free items that come with it. They usually don't come with it, and that is the July special. So if you're watching this after July, I'm sorry. Those are just for July, Christmas in July. So if you were thinking about the Brother Stellaire XC2, highly recommend it. It is fantastic. All right, now back over to our stitch out. She has been busy. She has been working. I wish she sewed this quickly, but she has been going. She's on her last stem of our really beautiful little snowflake. It's so gorgeous. Now, if you notice, the snowflake has these little circles at the end. They're decorative, but you also could put some thread through there to be actually able to hold, you know, put your snowflake on your tree or wherever you want to put it. Oh, you could even make these into garland. And what another thing I would love to do is for Christmas in my kids' room or maybe down the hallway is I want to hang some of these from the ceiling. And I think it would look really cool and hang them at different heights. And then it looks like it's snowing because these, again, are so easy to make and they're not time consuming. The time consuming part is the stitch out, but that's nothing that I have to do personally. And I love being able to have my embroidery only Stellaire that I can just have it going while I'm using my sewing machine to actually, you know, do whatever else projects that I want to do. And especially during Christmas, it's great to have both of them to make a little workhorse. And I know a lot of us have sewing machines that have been passed on. We love them. And so it's great just to have that secondary option. And she's done! Yes, I could have done this in a smaller hoop, but I thought about doing a bunch of them. So she is done. I like to just go ahead and take her out of the hoop, and then I cut around that water-soluble stabilizer, and then I'm going to bring her over to the sink, and then in some warm water, this was pretty hot water, I'm just going to run it under, and look, it magically makes that stabilizer disappear. If you've never used water-soluble stabilizer, it's pretty fun. So all that stabilizer is coming out. It's great. So what I like to do is I'll flip it over to the other side and run it through there to make sure it's all out. If you want to lightly run your fingers over it just to make sure all of that is out. And there it is. It's so good. Look, she's done. So I usually like to get a paper towel and I'll just pat it. You know, I'm not having to squeeze it out or anything crazy like that. I just pat it on both sides, and then that way, one, it's not dripping all over the place, but it's nice just to leave it there. Now, again, you can leave these flat on a counter, or if you take them outside, you can put them on a picnic table or something like that to dry, but it does not take a long time. But there it is. But you do want to lay it flat, so that way it doesn't dry in a weird way.
It's so good. Look at her. All right, she's not completely dry yet. She's getting there, but I'm too excited for my own good. So usually what I do is leave them to sit overnight, but if I'm really being impatient, which of course never, but I'll put them outside. You know, if it's a sunny day, because I live in Louisiana and it's still sunny in winter, but since we're doing Christmas in July, it's very sunny outside. And so I'll put these on like the picnic table or somewhere safe outside, and it dries so if you're impatient, there you go. But look at that. We made a snowflake. How cute is he? Oh, I love it. So I know I've thrown a lot of information at you guys, but honestly, it's because it's so easy. And I feel like a lot of people build it up in their head. They're like, oh, freestanding lace, that must be a difficult thing. I mean, look at this. We've made something really cool. But if you are going to do these for decorations, do them ahead. Do them ahead, especially, again, on that Brother Stellaire, that XE2. We've got matrix copy, so you could do a lot of them and get them all done and get them done early so that way they can dry and you're not trying to put a wet ornament on your Christmas tree this year. Or if you want to gift these are fantastic gifts to give someone. Like, I love these. They're so good. And I know Karen that in the Baton Rouge store, she was actually doing these as teacher gifts and different things like that, different shapes. And I think that is a really fun little gift. Ooh, someone that's getting married that doesn't have any Christmas decorations. How sweet would that be? I love that. So let me know down below. Have you ever done freestanding lace before? Are you gonna do it now that you realize how easy it is? And don't forget that that Brother XE2 is available on our website, allbrands.com, and in our stores. And with that awesome gift for purchase, come on. Come on, Christmas in July. We love it. It's the only time our owner lets me do this. So, Christmas in July. I hope you learned something new today, and if you didn't, lie to me. And don't forget to come back next week when we'll have an even more fun. Leave your suggestions in the comments of what you would like to see us do on next show, because I'm having a blast. And I think that will be our last Christmas in July show. Oh no, let me see. Let me see. I don't want to lie. Is that going to be our last Christmas in July? No, I have 2 more. Alright, I'll see you guys then. Bye, y'all. It's snowing.